In the shadowy alleys and rain-slicked streets of Waterloo, Iowa, a name slithers through the fog like a cold whisper in a closed casket. Dontay Tay Rat Sanford. To some he's folklore. To others a walking contradiction. He talks like a savage, acts like a soldier. But behind closed doors, he's got more in common with a court stenographer than a corner boy. He's a walking case file, a case builder, a case closer. And every time the streets think they've figured him out, he pulls out his secret weapon. Not a 40, not a switch, not even hands. Her name, Tashee Sanford, his blood sister, his co-defendant in the game of deception. A woman who doesn't wear a wire, but might as well be one. She's got Detective Myers on speed dial, and a city record for how many $1,000 reward checks she's cashed for anonymous tips. You'd think she was working for Crime Stoppers of Waterloo, except she doesn't stop crime. She packages it, gift wraps it in paperwork, and sells it to the highest bidder. Tay Rat and Tashee, they move like a two-person task force. He pulls up, records the heat, and she sends the smoke to law enforcement with the subject line, "Need this fool off the streets." He doesn't bust moves, he busts cases. You might remember Tashee Sanford from part 1 of the Tay Rat Chronicles, where she orchestrated the infamous Detective Myers call. But let's rewind. It was a frigid evening, the kind of day that chews through gloves and makes your soul shiver. Tay Rat was posted, grinning like he had a cheat code to life, running his mouth like usual, talking wild about putting belt to ass, but the only belt Tay Rat ever swung was the one cinched tight across his own hips as he raised his right hand on the witness stand. Perjury proof, testimony tight, street certified, in courtrooms only. Then it happened. Pow, bow, pow. 3 clean shots cracked through the silence. One hit his leg, the street fame cracked with it. Blood spilled, persona shattered. The fake lion turned into a lamb, but Tay Rat didn't cry out for revenge. He cried out for receipts, started plotting, not a retaliation, but a report. There were no witnesses, no footage, no fingerprints, but somehow a name emerged like magic. Robert Williams. Days later, Waterloo PD swooped in, cuffed, booked, processed, no gun, no motive, just a name. So how did Robert go down? Simple, Tay Rat whispered, but Tashee screamed, just not out loud. She knew how to grease the system. She made the call like she was ordering wings. Detective Myers, I got something you're gonna love. And just like that, another man disappeared into the system so Tay Rat could look tough without lifting a finger. But here's where it gets even darker. Less than a week later, Tay Rat tried to flex again, still limping, still leaking ego, still pretending like he had bite behind that bark. Word was he pulled up, acting like he was about to pop his trunk. Chest out, voice loud, pump faking. Problem is, the streets don't do fakes. The wrong move out here don't get you fame, it gets you finished. Before Tay Rat could even touch the handle, pop, pop, 2 more shots, one grazed, one hit square. Tay Rat hit the ground again, face down, clout gone. And guess what? Still no retaliation, still no get back. Just more whispers, more screenshots, and another call to Tashee. The pattern was clear. Tay Rat don't handle smoke. He forwards it to law enforcement. Tashee stayed ready. She was already texting Myers before the ambulance even showed up. I think I know who did this one too. Tay Rat wasn't feared. Not a boss. A case number in motion. He didn't control blocks. He controlled narratives. With false flags, fabricated names, and queen-level snitching from Tashee, his secret weapon. He'd pull up on enemies with a camera phone, not a Glock. Snap a pic of whoever was near, send it to Tashee like it was a target list. You think that's him? And just like that, another man got written into a crime he never committed. Because in Tay Rat's world, power ain't earned, it's planted. And people like Tashee, they water the lies. But the city's getting louder, they're starting to see through the fog. And the streets? They've begun keeping receipts of their own. Because karma don't need a court date, and eventually, even the biggest rats run out of places to hide. Now the city started watching, and what they saw was a man who claimed to be pressure but folded when it was time to apply it. But Tay Rat stayed loyal to his process. Pull out phone, send evidence to Tashee, she makes the call, case starts brewing. He didn't retaliate with bullets, he retaliated with name dropping. Even as we speak today, no ops down, no windows shattered, just shaky vertical footage and captions that read, Tell bro to come outside then. I'm finna pull up, but only have a camera. And while he's out there pretending to press pressure, the streets know the truth. Tay Rat ain't spinning the block, he's spinning narratives, because Tashee, she's not just his sister, she's his handler, his dispatcher, his human surveillance system. Tay Rat pulls up on his enemies with a camera, not to scare them but to build cases. Every recorded threat, every blurred out license plate, every side profile of a Glock, it goes straight to Tashee, and from her phone to the precinct it's like clockwork. Waterloo PD treats her inbox like evidence storage. She's been quietly collecting rewards, stacking up 1,000 ahead checks like it's income tax season. While Tay Rat pretends to be the boogeyman, she's cashing in on his lies. But here's where it gets dark. In a city where reputation is armor, Tay Rat walks around in glass. Every move he makes is fragile. Every flex, precarious. Because the thing about glass, it reflects before it shatters. And Tay Rat's been staring into his own reflection for years, trying to convince it he's something he's not. He talks about applying pressure, but uses law enforcement as his backup dancers, like he's directing a crime drama instead of surviving one. He don't call the shots, he calls the detective. He screams, "I put belt to ass." But the only belt he's ever touched was brown leather, looped around his waist as he sat on the witness stand, describing in detail what his ops wore on the night he barely escaped. Color-coordinated statements, matching testimony, no lies, just carefully curated truths. See, he built a name off street lore, off war stories that he only watched but never fought. Tales that started with "I was out there," and ended with a sealed indictment on someone else's name. He's not feared, he's filed. Alphabetized in the court system under confidential informant 0127. He's not a shooter, he's a submitter, submits clips to Tashee, submits statements to Myers, submits names to anyone with a badge and a badge of honor for cleaning up gang crime, and the streets feel it, because real ones don't show up with camera phones, they show up with consequences. But Tay, he pulls up filming like it's content. Angle check, frame the op, add a caption, tell him come outside, then send it straight to Tashee. That's his warfare. Evidence over effort, snitchcraft over streetcraft. Where others bleed for stripes, he uploads for likes, and collects checks for every chain reaction he causes in the booking process. And when it gets too hot, he disappears. Not into the shadows, but into safe houses. Cozy circles of snitches of the city where everyone knows not to speak reckless, because Tay Rat got ears everywhere, and most of them got a badge on the other end. He's a ghostwriter in his own story. But the streets are the editors now. They've started to revise the narrative, strip away the myth, delete the illusion. Because what kind of gangster puts himself on camera, logs evidence in real time, and has a blood relative running point with the task force? Not a savage, not a demon. Just a street-dressed case manager. More familiar with courtrooms than corners, more aligned with procedures than pressure. So the next time Tay Rat says, "I put belt to ass," remember this? The only time leather ever touched skin was when he was on the stand, pointing fingers, telling the court where to look, and how hard they need to swing. Because Tay Rat don't raise hell. He raises statements, and in the end, his armor ain't bulletproof. It's brittle, glass, transparent, ready to break under the weight of one more name drop. And the city? They ain't afraid no more. They are just waiting for Tay to trip over his own reflection. He built a name off fake street cred, but maintained it through screenshots, snitch lines, and staged pull-ups. So now, Waterloo's asking the question, is Tay Rat really a gangster, or is he just playing one in a phone-friendly format? Because while the real wolves move in silence, Tay Rat moves in selfie mode. And while others earn scars, he earns document and case numbers. In the underworld of Waterloo, you're remembered for two things: what you did, and who you took with you. And when the final chapter's written, when the paperwork gets unsealed, the city won't remember how many ops Tay Rat threatened. They'll remember how many he delivered. And behind every name he dropped was Tashee, his secret weapon, cutting deals with a Bluetooth and a checkbook. In the end, Tay Rat never spun the block. He spun the story. And in the court of street law, that makes him guilty of pretending to be what he never was.